espresso. Okay. Got it. HP. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Of course you can't screen share because you're not running the meeting.
Sterling. Are you there, Sterling?
What?
Is Sterling here yet?
Ajá.
Sterling, ¿dónde estás, señor?
¿Dónde está?
No puedo compartir la pantalla.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah, pero
My
Y-
professor says.
Your daughter is ham radio too?
Whiskey 7 Hotel Echo Romeo.
Oh, wow, Wiki 7. Qué bien, qué bien.
Clase extra.
¿What?
¿Sí?
Chivo. Extra, qué bien.
¿Sí? Hey, Sterling?
Hey there.
Hey, can you allow me to screen share?
Sterling.
Can you allow me to screen share for 1 second?
I sure can. I'm
Okay.
coming home from a pickleball game, so I'm gonna have to log into the IARU
Very young,
account.
very young.
Pickleball. Pickleball.
Yeah.
Sterling, very young.
Yeah.
Let me fix the permissions.
Okay.
Take me a second.
Yep.
I have my home PC doing the recording, but it's on the IARU account, and then
I see
I'm on
that.
my phone with my personal account, so it's like it's a little silly.
How do you say to show? Mostro? Mostrar? Well, but mostró. Yeah. Right. Quiero mostrar. Quiero mostrar mi pantalla a ti.
Compartir la pantalla.
No, well, it's a show. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Perfecto. Okay. Los contactos en Hotel Papa.
Hotel Papa, what? A ver, no, el Papa. No veo quién. Ah, ya. Ah, pero ese es un indicativo especial, special call sign.
¿Sí? ¿Cuál?
Oh, pero. Ese es HP0 India November Toronto
Sí.
/9. Eso es viejo, all.
No. Hace 8 años.
Sí.
2013.
Ese es
That
No,
was recent.
this one.
Gunter, he's dead.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah,
¿Verdad?
Gunter, he's
Oh.
dead.
Hotel Papa to Alpha Tango este año.
What?
Hotel Papa to Alpha Tango.
Ah, Colón City. Ese es NG.
¿Sí?
Apellido NG. The last name, NG.
Okay. ¿Tú lo
Un chino,
conoces?
it's Chinese. From
Chinese?
Colón City.
Really?
Yes.
¿Tú lo conoces?
Yes.
Bueno. Okay, Sterling, when does the crowd show up?
Well, that's always a good question. It is a little early. 2 more minutes, we'll see. But
Yeah.
I did send this out to our YOTA campers list,
Okay.
which is like 30 people.
Okay.
It's a weeknight and it's a Zoom meeting, and it's not like we didn't require them to come to this. This is just
Mhm.
kind of the, biweekly information sharing get together sort of thing. So it's come and go. We've had like meetings where there's been like 50 people and meetings where there's been 5. So,
Okay.
but usually
Then this is
Latin
a good,
America it's like 1 or 2.
this is a good starter meeting.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm gonna take a look at the. Well, so Hannah next month or whenever will be doing this from school. So
Oh, perfect.
yeah,
I'll try.
she'll try. She says, but I keep telling her this es una buena experiencia para ella.
Very good experience.
Exactly.
Very good experience for her. What's his name? What's the name? Scott, the name of your
Oh,
daughter?
that's right.
Yeah. I'm Hannah.
Repeat
Oh,
again.
en español, Ana.
Ana.
H-A-N-N-N-N-A-H.
Ah, ya.
Pero no pronunciamos en español el H. So,
No, sí, el H no. H
Ana.
es en español se dice H es muda.
Sí.
Mi maestro de middle school,
Escuela secundaria.
escuela secundaria,
H es muda.
ah,
Yeah.
sí, él me llamó Ana,
Ana,
porque
Ana,
no
Ana.
hay
Siempre.
H al,
Ana. Ok,
Siempre.
bien.
Ana.
al primero de
Sí.
las palabras.
Bueno. Ahí llegó quién.
Alvaro.
Vaya.
HP1. DAV.
Sterling, Taylor.
After y'all joining in, this is Sterling. This is Russ C. I'm coming home from a pickleball game, so still walking home. Feel free to chat. This is like our weekly or bi-weekly or once every 2 weeks meeting to just talk about Youth and Ham Radio, what we've been doing across the entire region too. And it's literally kind of just free form. I do have like an agenda and things to kind of talk about that typically we go around the room and just kind of go, hey, who are you? What are you up to in the world of ham radio? What kind of like youth experiences do you have, or youth activities have been going on, or any kind of like updates and that sort of thing? And then we'll have some, maybe Lucas will be on. Ward Silver usually shows up. He might be here shortly, but he's been pretty busy lately with a lot of like club meetings. So but just give me a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, and I'll be on the camera, ready to rock and roll.
¿Qué empezó? Voy para allá, voy para allá. ¿Cuál?
De tu casa.
Allá, ok, voy para allá.
Me pregunto todo el tiempo quién nos estaba buscando.
Los amigos se convertirán en enemigos. Y le mostró su verdadero rostro. Primero consiguió que su hermana entrara a la mansión, luego hizo un lado radical en gracia ante los dueños. Bastará como está su vida para que se muera de ese.
Verás que en 3 días estará manipulado. ¿Qué está haciendo el amor? Vete de aquí.
Su semblante está muy de ninguna. Su
Hey guys.
We're muted.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. This is Lucas, LU1 Fox Alpha Mike.
De Argentina. Buenos días.
Sí, buenos días. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien. Bien también.
Bueno, me alegro.
Hello, Lucas. Lucas,
Oh, hola Álvaro, ¿cómo estás?
aquí ya ves más o menos, disfrutando también de un juego ahora mismo de fútbol.
Muy bien, muy bien.
Panamá con México. Vamos ganando ahora mismo.
Bien, bien, buenísimo. Acá nos toca mañana con Bolivia.
Pero ¿cómo van ustedes en el score?
Está segundo, está Brasil y después está Argentina en la clasificación.
Ah, ya.
Entraba en el cuadro titular, sin embargo, al final se hicieron por Mori y Henry Martín por ser una de las variantes para el equipo mexicano en esta segunda parte. Gabriel, Ricardo y Casa, Julio Echeverría.
Bueno, cambios y llamados revulsivos.
Lucas, ahora sí van a entrar en verano ustedes, ¿ah?
Mucho para escoger el equipo mexicano.
Sí, ahora el 21 empieza la primavera.
Primavera.
Sí. Sí, sí, a partir del 21 de septiembre.
Pero ahora mismo están en invierno.
Exacto. Hasta el 21 es invierno.
¿Está un invierno difícil o no?
No fue tan frío en esta zona. Yo estoy cerca de la pampa húmeda, con lo cual no hay nieve en invierno. Así que no es tan frío, por suerte. Aprovechamos. Tampoco hace calor, pero bueno, casi no hay temperaturas por debajo de los 0 grados.
Sí.
Siempre está entre 1 o 2 grados lo más frío. Pero húmedo, no es un invierno seco. Mucha humedad. Así que es particular, es muy particular.
Sí.
Pero bueno.
Estaba en Tacuarembó hace 18 meses. Solo un poco. Oh boy, how do you say before?
Antes,
What?
before,
Yeah.
antes.
Poco antes de la pandemia.
Claro.
Trabajaba en Tacuarembó, en Uruguay.
En Uruguay, sí.
Sí.
Conozco.
Sí.
Conozco la zona.
¿Sí?
Muy lindo, sí. Sí, conozco.
Oye, Lucas,
Sí.
tengo el indicativo especial. Hotel Papa 200 India, celebración el bicentenario de Panamá.
Sí, vi que están activas varias estaciones ahí con el sufijo 200 de Caribe.
No, pero acá
Y,
Centroamérica va a dar un diploma muy bonito con la FRACAP. La FRACAP,
ajá, bien.
la FRACAP, Federación de Radioaficionados de Centroamérica y Panamá.
Genial.
Contactar las 6 estaciones y
Sí.
un diploma bien bonito. Ahí yo te aviso cuando yo salgo. Bueno,
Sí,
no,
yo en casa no tengo estación, estoy montando la torre, así que creo que para fines de octubre ya voy a tener la estación nuevamente operativa.
pero en
Ya
FT8.
no tengo antena directamente, no hay nada
Ya.
en casa.
Ajá, ya.
Por eso la torre la voy a montar ahora en septiembre, tal vez algo de octubre. Y de hecho ya empezamos a tener propagación transecuatorial tanto en 6 metros como en 2 metros.
Pero
Ayer.
se van hasta el 30, hasta diciembre, todas las 6 estaciones.
Bueno, sí, después de octubre entonces probablemente
Sí.
pueda haber de trabajar alguno.
Ya. Ahí
Sí, sí.
contáctame la estación mía y que te gana la QSL. Amén.
Dale, dale, genial, genial.
Señor Álvaro, escuché hoy, yo creo, Tango India 200 India
Ajá, correcto,
también.
ajá, correcto. Tango India. Entonces, yo tengo, I have HP 200 India, 2. Los
¿Y,
six
y, y, quién,
country.
y quién es el operador? Es de la... ah, ¿tú sabes quién es la operador de esta estación?
De Tango Italia.
No, de Hotel Papa.
I am.
Oh, tú.
Yes.
Ok, qué bueno.
Only y otros amigos míos que van a ayudarme. En FT8, Charlie Wiki y yo en Fonía.
Ujú.
Pero hoy no voy a salir porque estoy viendo el juego. Pero ahí nos contactamos, yo te digo la
ok.
frecuencia. Sí.
Okay, I'm back.
Hey, Sterling, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Just a little bit late today because I was watching some movie, and when I realized it was already 10 p.m.
I guess everyone else is watching
I,
movie too.
yeah, probably. But here is kind of late, but that's fine.
Well, we can move the time for you.
Isn't it actually just time for dinner?
Oh, we already had dinner. It's
Oh,
about
you did? Okay.
10, 11 p.m. At night. So,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, well, you have it in Uruguay, so you know that we have dinner kind of late, around
late.
9:30, sometimes 10.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to get dinner before meetings, so because we stand until midnight most of the time, so it's kind of late to start cooking and doing that stuff. So I just go back to bed as soon as I can after we finish.
Yeah, the Chileans like to eat very late also.
Yeah. Yeah, everything is late here. Yeah. we go to if we want to go out to have some fun to the disco or something, we go very late at night, sometime after midnight.
The sun coming out,
but
that's when you go out.
Yeah. Well, almost. We go back home a few hours after the sun is up. So yeah.
Done that before.
Sometimes a few hours after.
Oh man! So ironically, I put out all these reminders and put a notice to our Discord, and this is the lowest turnout I've ever seen. Where is everybody at? Because Ward is out. Ward is doing more meetings. Brian BE6 Juliet Bravo Juliet is having internet issues. KD8 VRX is having a VOA meeting, so I think that might also be where Neil is, and then 20, 30 people on our YOTA chat. I know K4BEN was wanting to come in, so I'm gonna ping him at least, because he habla inglés or español muy bien. Well, better than most Americans, that is. So.
I think we spoke in Spanish in the Discord chat.
Yeah.
There's a Spanish room there so we exchange a couple of messages.
So, good to have. And I'm drinking like a horse because I just finished a pickleball game, which it's like tennis and it's like ping pong, and it's a lot of fun. He says he went to dinner with friends. Oh well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea. Yeah. So the idea is now to share our meetings with the youth.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Pointing at the.
I try to invite some of my youth but as you know, it's kind of late for us.
Mhm.
And well, sometimes they had to study early in the morning, and but I will try to at least try to bring one or two of them, especially if I'm not sure about how good they understand English, so probably I will tell them to join when we have our Spanish meeting.
Mhm.
But it's a good chance for them to learn some English too. So we will see what they have to say. But probably for next Spanish meeting, I will try to bring one or two of them.
Okay, that's actually an interesting question that brings up is like how much of the youth in your country in Argentina speaks like English? Is it a
Well,
do they keep it in school, or is it like a mixture?
they should have English in probably all schools in different levels of in the different levels, because it's kind of important to know English to get better works, to get a good job and that kind of stuff. So, but I'm not sure about if they are fluent or not. Maybe they can understand, but they are shy to speak, or they don't are fluent to speak. So most of them know at least have a kind of good level of English, but I'm not sure. But I guess we see a lot of movies and series on, so most of them are in English with subtitles. So I guess they can understand. Maybe they are not very good trying to talk, but I
Right.
guess, yeah. I guess if we speak slowly, they might understand us.
Right. I have been hounding on our IARU leadership to upgrade our Zoom account for like,
Yeah.
and which would give us like live transcripts. And honestly, I might just as well do Google Meet because it does that for free.
Yeah.
And then they also have like if we were really cool and we had a live translator, like somebody who could do actual interpretation. But I hear that that's really expensive to actually hire somebody to do translation. But and also we can't kind of bounce between two languages. You kind of have to just start the meeting and say the meeting is in English, and then you get to pick like, you know, the transcription will get translated in real time to whatever language you want, but you can't say, well, he's going to talk in English and then he's going to talk in Spanish, and then it doesn't like, it's not that smart yet.
You cannot switch. You cannot switch languages fast. I mean,
so it's frustrating, and they're also like, you know, it's like $12 more a year or something, or a month for them, and they're like, yeah, if you need anything, just ask. And I'm like, here, give me this, and they're like, oh, okay. And well,
yeah, well, a couple of us, we can try to translate from Spanish to English, and vice versa.
Done before.
Yeah, we have been done this.
I guess I want to encourage you guys too in the Spanish speaking realm to because we've done a few meetings in North America and in the English side on our own as well. So if you want to start having, I guess, and there's also something to be said about just having meetings for having meetings' sake, you know, that you don't want to just waste people's time and talk and write some notes and you know, not really get anything done. And honestly, a lot of these meetings have been such like that. So, but I mean, there has been a lot of information disseminated or distributed around that people weren't aware of, and it was been very helpful for some people, especially in the beginning when we had like 30 people join, and we had youth especially Puerto Rico. I know they had Puerto Rico, and there were some from, I haven't been a list somewhere, but some from other Caribbean nations and island nations. But interest has started to fade, and so I need to start. So I started by, you know, inviting our youth in various places, and I'm going to start getting out to other venues again, like Rat Pack and
whatnot to get the word out, to try to stir up the awareness of this. And maybe we need to start thinking about how to make this a more productive meeting, going back to what even Oscar has said before, like reiterating what he said about, like, not letting this just become a couple talking heads every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So, and that's what Ward really keeps me in check. And since he's been out of office for a while, he's been doing a lot of other meetings. His grounding and bonding, presentation is extremely popular, and it seems like he's giving that every other night. So he's been busy with a lot of that. And
Yeah.
he's going around place to place with Ellen. So
Yeah. We have been working in a couple of projects for this summer, and I have a couple of questions about the YOTA month in December. And I know that we exchanged a couple of emails this week or last week, and I'm not sure if there is going to be an award or something. So for what I read, the region 1 is the one in charge of the YOTA month.
Mhm.
So I guess I will need to contact Philip or any of the guys in region 1. I'm not sure if they want us to be active the whole month with our special call or not, or if there's something special that we need to follow, instructions or any I don't know rules or something to follow. So not sure if there's at least a chance to have some information regarding the YOTA month.
Gotcha.
Just in order to tell the guys that are going to operate the special call from Argentina to be aware of.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we will try to be we will try to be on as much as we can.
Yeah, I posted the link to the awards. There are awards. I don't know how it ends up
Okay.
being, if it's like a plaque, but there is like platinum, gold, bronze, silver type awards, and they're points based. It is the entire month, so as long as you can keep your
Okay.
the longer you can keep your station or stations on the air, the better.
Okay. So I guess we will have to be all bands, all modes.
Right. But
Or at least as much as we can.
the award is really who is basically that's the number of contacts that you make in particular. The award isn't given to the operator, it looks like.
Okay.
But the
Yeah, yeah.
operators themselves will work the other stations and they can get an award themselves. And I think there are also separate like certificates and dedications for the operators, especially since the YOTA, they're the ones making it all happen.
Correct.
I think these mainly
Okay,
are
so
awards for like the actual people trying to operate the YOTA stations.
yeah, I have a couple of questions regarding logs and if I need to upload logs, if I have to, because we will operate only one special call sign, but probably it will be different operators in different bands and modes.
Mhm.
So if there's an award for the special call operators, I guess I will need to somehow tell which QSO have been made by each of the operators. So if there is an award for them. So I guess okay.
Right.
I may contact the guys in region 2 and region 1 to see how this is going to be. But
Philip will know best and we'll help relay, because I think what some of the YOTA stations will do will also give specific individual awards to some of the operators, because not one person will give like the entire month like 24/7 operating, but they'll give an award to somebody who makes the most contacts or does the most operating. And there's a bunch of statistics on their website that shows like 980 YOTA made way more contacts than everyone else. So but I don't know like what kind of award they actually received, or if like how
Okay.
it breaks down. So we can talk to Philip and see. There isn't very much information besides like, hey, we're doing YOTA month on the YOTA month website.
Okay, fine.
Right. A good question. Hi, Aldo.
Hola, Aldo.
Buenas noches, Lucas. Good night to everybody. Good evening.
Buenas noches.
Hola, Aldo.
Hola. Hola, Álvaro.
¿Está en Miami?
Disculpen la tardanza.
¿Está en Miami, Aldo?
I'm sorry for being late.
I'll share my screen real quick just to show kind of what I look at when I see the agenda. Inspect element, but I have a whole Google Drive system set up, so I'll share that. But I had a number of things. Last week we talked about like the plaques for the CQ Worldwide. They're all sold out. Which, like, was a record for
yeah, it was already updated in the CQ Worldwide website. So yeah, it was fantastic. It was sold out almost immediately.
The Ham Talk Live did an interview with John K2DP or K1DP, K1DG.
K1AR? Oh, no, it's Kilowatt Alpha Radio. Yeah, John Doerr.
Yeah, and it was they were very happy to have all their plaques sold out. I tried to buy one, but the IARU bought all of them except Neil.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was Ramon, and not sure if another one, but Ramon was very happy as well.
Yep.
I talked to him a couple of times.
And then more contests. So I did see that NAQP and Secret Worldwide are adopting new rules, which are very, I guess, modern. They address like some of the issues of live streaming and social media, like getting spots from live streaming and social media. So that's like a good sign, especially in terms of like contesters who want to live stream. That's like a really important venue for young people to like be able to see. Because after all, it's a sport, it's an e-sport, electronic sport.
Yeah.
And more hams are doing it, and more hams are getting annoyed at it because they think that they have an unfair advantage, which they may or may not have, because they may or may not be soliciting a contact just by being a live streamer. But they're starting to address it, which is good. And then there are more articles. There are some articles that are supposed to be that are being close to being released that are from some of the YOTA campers. So we're still looking for those to be published.
Oh, the one that Neil's comment the last meeting?
Yep.
Oh, okay. He said that he's going to publish one in CQ magazine, right?
Yeah. So that was last week in a nutshell. And then I invited the campers to this meeting, and so far we got nobody. I don't know what happened. Everyone was super happy to go to the YOTA camp, and then the chat kind of just went, fell out, you know. School's back in session, so maybe that's it's Wednesday night doing homework and stuff. But so I think I'm going to try to put out some questions to see if we can get more people active, like on a chat of some sort.
You can have pizza delivered to all their houses.
Precisely. That was the way that I got W0EE working again, by bringing pizza to IEEE meetings and then saying, hey, oh, by the way, that room down there has a ham radio club and there's pizza. Come over if you want some pizza. And then we, you know, give the spiel of ham radio with all of our cool gear and the waterfall and all that stuff. So
that was the bait that worked.
Yeah. In a college with a captive audience, you gotta have them like kind of there.
I was involved with my college ham radio station for 9 years, and I was responsible for getting the pizza. That was my job. Every meeting.
You know, all jobs are important in a team.
So, also, lo siento, no habla español, because I can't speak Espanol, but
Oh, un poco.
bear with me.
I speak a little English.
Yeah. I did want to say that ITU, the International Telecommunications Union, put out a podcast. They put out a podcast every week. They have several. And one of them is the Technology for Good. And their episode 13 is about youth. And it's called Youth Changing the World Through Technology. And it talks about how young people are getting more involved in, especially around the world of like climate change and the world of like the internet for everyone, and how the ITU is making sure that young people's voices are heard. And since that's the ITU and they are the top level of the European or the United Nations level of telecommunications administration, and the IARU falls like right under them, I asked a bunch of people in like the IARU Region 1, 2, and 3, like what kind of initiatives, what are youth being represented properly or fairly like the ITU is. And then I got a answer back from Tim Ellum. And if you don't know him, he's the IARU president. So we work with the ITU to showcase youth and amateur radio where we can. And if anybody has some more I guess, impactful ways of working with the International Telecommunications Union to weave amateur radio into something that might be beneficial to everybody, that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, I put this tweet out and didn't get much activity, sadly. 605 people saw it though. But anyway, take a listen to that. If I get back to the like get out of there, and then that's pretty much it. Now going back to like the Google Drive thing, so I have like this whole thing set up where all of our meeting record, all of the summaries and a meeting record is located, that has like everything, the document link, the video recording, audio recording. I even have a podcast feed that you can listen to, you know, because not everyone comes to these meetings, but I want to make sure that this information, if people want to hear it, can be heard by everyone as easy as possible. So that's all there, and I'll share that in our typical post-meeting kind of spiel, but oftentimes I forget to do that, so keep reminding me. But yeah, so that's how the sausage is made. behind the scenes. And that's all I have to really mention. Since there's not many people here, we'll have
así hay una reunión cada 2 semanas, ¿sí?
¿Qué? ¿Cómo?
Cada 2
¿Perdón?
semanas?
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks?
Sí. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it English, Spanish, and of course we speak both, but I try to emphasize like every other week. Well, yes, in Espanol, while us English speakers kind of sit back and then hope that Lucas translates for us.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Well, we have Scott and Hannah now.
Yeah. A lot of times, if the
Ella
conversation
está,
is really good.
Yeah, ella está muy buena estudiante.
Yeah. Bueno.
It's a good chance to learn.
Yeah, well, she's actually doing college Spanish now. She's doing a minor
Awesome.
in Spanish, so I told her this is a really good chance to get some practice, and she's also a ham, so.
Bingo.
Well, in my experience, I learned more English talking over the radio than in the books. So
Yeah.
It was kind of a challenge for me I got my license when I was like 17 years old, and well, I started on 10-meter phone and tried to call CQ North America, CQ stateside. And after I speak a little bit of English, my callers start asking me questions, so I had to try to respond what they want. So that way I start learning more and more vocabulary. And then I got a good job because of that. Because when I was like 20 something, I started working for a company in the States. I was working in a customer service section for Capital One. Probably you should know that it's a bank. I think it's a bank there. So I start talking with Capital One customers. So that way I improve my English dealing with different kind of problems. So I guess if you start calling CQ in Spanish, you will get a lot of callers. There's a lot of people on 10 meters that mostly speak Spanish. So that will help you a lot. And you can ask them whatever you need. They will always be happy to help you. And if you need a native speaker, you can contact any of the guys here. We will be more than happy to help you.
But Lucas, you are a special case because you speak Spanish, English,
oh
Russian,
yeah, I know,
German, and,
yeah.
And Charlie Whiskey.
Yeah, I do CW as well, but that's because I work with languages. That's the only. I mean, I like languages. I have been working in the translation industry for probably 3 to 4 years already. So I like languages a lot. And this year I start learning Russian. So kind of mess, but
Alemán también, sí.
Yeah,
Poco, muy difícil. Es muy difícil.
Yeah, and imagine when we get Brazilians on here.
Well,
Very difficult.
Yeah, the thing is that Portuguese and Italian, if they speak kind of slowly, knowing Spanish, you might understand probably 60, 65, 70% of what they are saying, because it's kind of similar. But I think Russian is much more difficult than German. I have been crazy for the last
it's totally
6 months already.
Yeah, you can't. It's not like the Roman root or the Greek root or anything.
Oh yeah,
like
you need to learn a new alphabet from scratch. You know.
Cyrillic one.
Just wait till you go to Chinese and Japanese, and Korean.
Oh yeah.
Thai, Hindu.
Say too
Yeah.
Polyglot. So it's like learning Morse code. So just learn Spanish and by actually immersing, because you can learn Morse code on, by learn Morse code online or by Morse code tapes, but you will never get as proficient as if you get on the air.
Yeah, one thing that I say to the youth here, that if they don't know how to speak English, Morse code is the best choice, because you don't need any language to do CW. You only need to know the abbreviations of, I don't know, the that you want to send, and I mean, it's much more easier to make a contact with somebody who don't speak English or any other language.
Well, now, but
now we have FTA. But
what is amazing is when the South American people want to make a queue with North America, and American people answer the call, they want to speak in Spanish. Very much.
I do too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, they want to speak in Spanish, and I speak in English, and they reply in Spanish again.
And there's a lot of Japanese that they want to learn Spanish as well.
Yes.
We have a lot of Japanese calling us in Spanish, which is really funny, because their accent in Spanish is super funny.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I work with Indians, Koreans, Chinese people, and Japanese in the 15 years ago. And this is very, very funny when they speak in Spanish or in English.
And they learn a lot of slang. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
very funny as well. Sometimes they are speaking and they say, for example, I don't know. I have one that said instead of dipolo, which is dipole, they say dipolito, which is a little dipole.
Dipolito.
And, yeah, dipolito. And that was funny because I didn't expect that from this guy. So it's fun. It's fun. I mean, part of the fun of being a ham is to learn different cultures, languages, and it's for free. You know, it's some people needs to pay to talk with a native speaker, and we have that for free over the radio. So
así, Aldo, ¿qué haces en Miami?
Estoy asaltando las tiendas, me estoy llevando todos los equipos de radio que encuentro. Tengo dos maletas llenas. Tengo dos maletas llenas de equipos. Tengo dos 7300, tengo un 2730A, tengo un Handy, tengo una caja con 20 toroides acá conmigo, cables, conectores Anderson, Powerboard. Siento como niño en juguetería.
Hay que aprovechar el viaje.
Hay que aprovechar el viaje. Viene por negocios personales, viene por personal business, pero ya habían que venía Oscar Alfa 4 Delta Papa Mike acá a Estados Unidos y me mandaron lista de pedidos, así que...
last time...
Para ti un permiso de Interamerican, permiso de radio.
Sí, en el Perú requieres solicitar un permiso de internamiento de equipos de radio y yo lo tramito por internet con una aplicación. Subo las facturas de compra y mi licencia de radioaficionado. Y en 5 días el Ministerio de Transportes y Comunicaciones, que es la organización que regula todo eso, emite una resolución que envían a la aduana.
¿Y no pagas impuestos?
No, pago el impuesto. O sea, el asunto es el siguiente. Yo tengo que pagar impuestos igual, pero me permiten el ingreso de un producto que es restringido. Porque es como si fuera un arma.
Entiendo.
Automóvil. Para conducir un automóvil necesitas una licencia. Para portar un arma necesitas una licencia. Para tener radio necesitas una licencia. Si yo no tengo licencia y compro el radio y lo quiero internar en el país, me lo retienen hasta que obtenga la licencia.
Claro.
Entonces, yo tengo que sustentar que tengo la licencia para poder manejar el equipo.
Pero acá en Panamá nosotros podemos traer cualquier producto así. No tenemos problema porque estamos exonerados.
Estás exonerado como radioaficionado.
Sí, claro que sí.
Claro, pero si no fueras radioaficionado sí tendrías que pagarlo.
Bueno, claro, pero nunca he visto a nadie que trae un producto así. Nunca lo he visto. Siempre que viene con su producto, con su licencia y todo al día.
Ahora, el asunto es que cuando yo llegue a la aduana, igual voy a presionar el botoncito a ver si me sale rojo o verde. Si me sale verde, paso sin decirle nada a nadie. Y
un semáforo. Sí. Un semáforo.
Aquí es igual. El problema es que bueno, no hay nada como para que nosotros de alguna manera avisemos que vamos a ingresar equipos. Así que hay que pagar sí o sí el 50% del valor de lo que ingreses.
Oh, wow.
Sí, de lo que ingreses. Sí. Igualmente así todo muchas veces es más barato que comprarlo directamente aquí. Así que también.
Pero mira que nosotros mandamos a buscar a través de internet, tampoco pagamos nada.
Sí, a veces.
No sé si se verá ahí está la resolución. Ahí ya sale la resolución aprobatoria del Ministerio de Transporte y Comunicaciones a mi persona por internar dos 7300, un 2730A, un Yaesu VX6R y todos los equipos adicionales que estoy trayendo. O sea,
y por la cantidad, por la cantidad no piensan que estás, digamos, comerciándolos.
No, porque si me preguntan, yo le voy a decir uno para 40 metros, otro para 20 metros, otro para 15
Ok. Está bien, está bien, está bien, está bien. Sí,
Eso está
sí.
bien.
Uno cada banda. ¿Sí?
Uno para
Claro.
Exactamente.
digitales,
Cada
uno
banda.
para fonía, otro para Charlie Wiki.
Sí,
Así
sí.
mismo. Así mismo.
Lo que tienen nuestros países en la aduana esa es la ventaja. Muchas veces yo cuando compro a través del correo, también pongo, no sé, repuesto de computadora y en realidad no es un repuesto de computadora y los repuestos de computadora pagan menos impuestos que equipos de radio, digamos.
Ay,
Ajá.
ay.
Pero sí, todos le buscamos la vuelta, digamos.
No, le buscamos la vuelta.
¿Qué
Hay
va
que
a ser?
aprovechar la
¿Qué va a ser?
oportunidad, pues obviamente.
Yo me acabo de comprar un Icon 7300.
Sí,
Sí,
buenísimo el equipo.
sí, 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 cómo no.
Sí, Radio Club Peruano tiene 4 7610, 4 equipos 7610 y es mucha plata, es demasiado para traer, son 3.000, 4.000 dólares de equipos, yo no estoy tan loco
¿Cuánto?
como, creo que vale como 3.000 dólares cada uno, tres
Ay,
mil y
ya la
pico
máquina.
dólares. Sí,
Y
son
puede ser.
3.000 y algo más probablemente.
Es como el precio de un Helecraft.
Ah, sí, el Radio Club Peruano tiene 4 de esos.
Ya los voy a ir a visitar, Aldo, un día de esto, a
De
hacer
todas
algún
maneras,
concurso allá.
cuando quieras, tú simplemente vas, tocas la puerta y te abrimos la puerta.
Sí, sí, ya con tiempo, cuando afloje un poco la pandemia, siempre
Es que
quise operar desde ahí, desde el club,
nunca
porque
va a
vi que
visitar
siempre tienen buenas antenas.
al hombre del sombrero.
¿Cuál es el hombre del sombrero?
Ese nadie lo conoce.
No lo...
Este, de todas maneras, no sé cómo será el próximo año en la reunión de la IARU en Argentina.
No, no sé, no sé.
No
¿Es
sé, vamos a
acá?
ver, vamos a ver que creo que sí, va a ser en Argentina, en Buenos Aires. Pregúntale a
Ah,
Diego.
sí, le voy a
¿La
preguntar a
reunión va a ser
Diego.
allá? Ah, sí, sí, en Argentina, sí, correcto.
Sí, 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 sí. Hubo un encontronazo con los colombianos que quisieron reclamar la sede y tuvimos que decirles,
No.
no, compadre, no.
Eso,
Argentina ya la había pedido
Aldo,
anteriormente.
eso es para octubre, más o menos, octubre o noviembre, por allá.
Sí, es correcto, sí.
Sí. Voy a ver si me apunto, si Dios me da permita, voy a ver si me apunto para ver si participo ahí.
Sí, claro que
Bueno,
sí. Sterling también
si
debería ir.
vienen, me hago una escapada para Buenos Aires, que
Sí,
estoy
claro que
lejos,
sí.
pero voy
Claro que sí.
a saludar, a comer un
Sería,
asado. Aunque sea.
sí, sería interesante, ¿sabes qué? Que en la YARU de ese nuevo encuentro de la Asamblea General de la YARU se proponga una sección de YOTA para que se reúna YOTA
Sí,
ahí.
sí, podría ser. Estaría
Podría ser
bueno para los
interesante,
chicos.
sí, sí, claro.
Kenneth,
Así podría estar Ward, Sterling, tú, yo, Oscar, estamos por ahí revueltos y armar nuestra propia sección ahí. Vernos las
So, so,
caras.
so Sterling, you need to come to Argentina next year for YARU meeting.
Okay.
You just need to talk with Ramon. Talk to Ramon. Tell him
Yeah, talk to Ramon. Yeah,
we need a meeting here in Argentina. So to talk about YOTA.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
Yeah, sure.
Why that dude in that video was drunk.
Here, Jack.
Say what?
Well, he was
Right.
sitting in first
Looks like
class
the game's all
and
here.
he was drunk. So
I made another ping to the YOTA Discord chat to make people realize that, oh yeah, the meeting is tonight. So why do you need a meeting in Argentina? What were y'all talking about? I obviously could not follow.
Is the YARU Region 2 meeting?
Right now.
They talk about different kind of stuff. So, but Aldo was telling us that it should be nice to have some sort of YOTA meeting as well, if you guys coming. Well, Aldo, I guess you're coming. So Alvaro is also trying to come. So maybe we have Ramon as well. So there's a couple of the YOTA guys. So we may have
We'll see how much I can brush up on my Spanish by then.
Okay. So
If
you
not,
have
I'm going
like
to have to like use you as my tour guide.
yeah. So you have an year to practice. Almost a year. It's October 2000.
Yeah,
2022.
Yeah, you can begin saying parrilla.
Yeah, that's the only.
Solo es necesario beber mate.
Sí, mate, cerveza y parrilla. That's the only three words that you need to learn.
Mucha parrilla.
That's all I need to know.
Sí,
Asado,
mucha parrilla.
asado. Hay que decir asado.
Cool.
Okay, I see a couple of new faces, so I'm
Yeah,
not sure if they want to
right.
introduce themselves.
Yeah, let's introduce Adam, KD9KAS. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, hey guys, I just hopped on as I saw the Discord notification. When I saw what you sent out yesterday, I saw the 9 p.m. and I'm in Central Time, so the Eastern Time. I ended up being about 45 minutes late, but I finally showed up. But no, my name's Adam, KD9KIS from Wisconsin, USA, and I went to youth on the air this year. I had a blast down there, as I'm sure Sterling could tell you. But definitely had a fun time down there, and I hope we have more youth on the air in the future, and hope I can be a part of it.
Nice to meet you, Adam.
Nice to meet you.
Cool.
Hey, Sterling.
Welcome.
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Did Hannah introduce herself? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
We just kind of got carried away in the conversation.
we were speaking.
you're on this. Get closer to the microphone. You're on the spot.
Hi, I'm Hannah. My dad and I are from Eugene, Oregon, and I am going to be a sophomore at the U of O this year, and I have my extra class license, and my call sign is W7HER.
She's also the president of the newly reformed University of Oregon Ham Radio Club.
Awesome. I knew Ron Lego, AC7DX. He was in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah.
He was a silent key a couple of years ago. He was my QSL manager. So I've been in contact with him daily, almost daily.
Yeah, and I know the call, and I'm actually a member of the Willamette Valley DX Club, and we do the 7th area QSLs, so we see a lot of cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I'm very happy to have you here, Hannah and Scott, and happy to. Or was it that you? Where were we when I met you, Scott? It was.
That was in the QSO Today Expo.
That's right.
And we were trying to figure out, among other things, well, okay, so I was trying to figure out a way that Hannah could do some radio, maybe get some pointers for school this year, as well as be able to do something that would benefit other people and give her some more practice in Spanish. So
that's like 7 birds with 1 stone.
I know. She was like, you didn't. Like, yeah, I did.
Oh man. Okay, well, I was gonna introduce Jack, but it looks like he's taking care of a fly.
Yeah.
KJ7GYR, how are you?
Sure.
Well,
Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of. I heard you for a second. Now I can't.
You can hear me?
QSL?
Okay. What are else doing?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay.
Still bad audio.
I think the fly swatter is his microphone.
All right, well, he fixes his microphone. Taylor, you've been in here in the background. KAKWZ. I think I saw you at Huntsville in the background as well.
Yep. How's it going?
Well, it's going well. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good. See if Jack can get it back. Taylor was one of the other camp attendants.
Ah, okay, got it.
There you go. There you go, Jack.
Yeah.
You're 5 and 9.
I had to disconnect my AirPods. My phone was acting weird. I'm calling you over Starlink internet right now. It's just terrible.
There, I made it.
Nice. So how are you, Jack?
Yeah. I'm doing well right now. Yeah.
Good.
How's everybody else doing?
We're good. So welcome. Glad to see that at the beginning of the meeting, there was only like 4 of us, and then I'm glad I put out another ping on the Discord so that we had some actual youth show up. So that's one of the things with this meetings.
Yeah, I just.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I just heard at everyone ping, so I opened up my app and saw that there was a Zoom link, so I clicked it and I opened it up, and then people were talking, and then I didn't realize that this was the entire meeting for all of Region 2. So I was like, oh no, I hope I didn't get on the wrong meeting, but yeah, and I'm glad we're here again.
You're Region 2, so. And normally this would be in Spanish, so if you speak Spanish, then feel free. But it is for all of Region 2, so that's why we have Lucas and Aldo and Alvaro, and in the past we've had a whole bunch of people from Panama and Chile, Brazil, and lots of, like, Ramon will sometimes be here from Mexico, and lots of Puerto Rico. So in Canada, our Canadian person had bad internet. Maybe they don't have very good Starlink either. So
I speak a little bit of French, but not Spanish.
Bueno. Bon. Patrick, what's up?
Hey, you caught me while I was at the gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got it. I got to work out.
Everyone's going like back to school, right? More or less, if you're not homeschooled or I don't even know when school is. I just know there's school buses in my neighborhood.
You just have to watch for the flashing lights.
Yeah. Well, cool. So
Was that chocolate milk?
Yep.
Oh man, I need to get some chocolate milk now.
Growing bones.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I drink only chocolate when I'm going in at home.
So, like, kind of a
here also.
So kind of a synopsis of every week or every 2 weeks they occur. It's like a general YOTA Region 2 meeting. Okay. And I was talking to Lucas earlier about how we should start figuring out how to make this a more productive meeting in terms of, like, we just kind of come on here and talk about our ideas and try to execute them. Lucas has always had a bunch of, like, really good for example, just putting you on the spot, you've had some actual activities you put on, like, for example, LU1 YOTA, and everyone will, I think, put in, like, what in their region or in their member society or in their area has been going on in terms of youth and ham radio, or what hasn't been going on, which is even more important or as important as the other. For example, like, I went to a ham club meeting, I went to a ham fest, and I was the youngest person. So, hey, there's Ben connecting. Ben actually speaks Spanish a little bit. So.
He pretends.
I have been speaking with Ben in the Discord room, so we will see if he was using Google Translate or he really know how to speak some Spanish.
Ben.
We'll see.
Hola, Ben. ¿Cómo
estás? Hola, ¿cómo estás, Ben?
I think Ben has the wrong AirPods on.
No, he's muted.
Cleaner.
So some news that I have from my team. We have been working in a beacon for 23 centimeters that we will put it on here in Rosario for local hams to start working in higher bands, because we have been seeing that there's not much activity on the higher bands, 2 meters and up. So we will start doing some activities on those bands just to see if more and more hams start operating those bands. So I have been working with a group of older hams, and there's a few youth as well. So I'll, as soon as I get some pictures, I will share with you the repeater that we made. And also we are start working in our national YOTA camp. As I mentioned last meeting, we will start with the 2 days camp. Probably if it's not this summer, for next summer, it will depend on COVID. Things are quite slow still due to COVID, but they're start opening some. For example, I think we will start going back to the movies, and probably to the normal old life that we had before COVID. So it's going to be a good chance to do a small camp here. And that's pretty much it. We will be operating YOTA month with Lima Radio 1 Yankee Oscar Tango Alpha, as I mentioned last week, last meeting. So we will see what happened this summer here in the southern part of the world.
Go
ahead.
I'm curious how much 1.2 gigahertz equipment do people actually have? Because we we have very little.
Yeah, well, here's almost the same. In my city, we have like probably 400, 500 hams, and probably we'll have, not sure, maybe 4 or 5 equipment that can transmit on 1.2 gigahertz. But there is a lot of SDRs, so they might get some reception, at least start getting some reception on that band. And after that, they might be interested on transmitting as well. So somehow we're trying to motivate more hams to operate higher bands, because if we don't use it, we will lose them. I mean, there's more and more people in those bands. For example, we have near my house, we have there is I don't know how to say in English. Sorry, let me think. The place, I mean, it's the place where the cars race in
racetrack.
Racetrack.
So we found out that there is a broadcast station that was transmitting on 2 meters on 144/200, for example. I don't remember so the broadcast is starting to use ham bands to do their things. So we realize that we need to be on as much as we can on higher bands, and because we will lose them. So that's a good project for youth as well, to try to use SDR, which are kind of cheap, at least to do some reception of, I don't know, satellites or beacons and that kind of stuff on that bands. And now our summer is coming, so propagation should be good in those bands for TEP as well. Like I told you earlier, yesterday and today we have TEP with the Caribbean on 2 meters. So we heard Papa 41 Echo on 144/300 SSB. So we need to record, take pictures, record videos, and try to put them on the social media.
So, Lucas, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So, I know that we haven't gone to school. The kids have not been in school at all. at least here. I assume that it's similar
Yeah.
there. But before the pandemic and after the pandemic, is there a push, at least in Rosario, to get hams into science class to
Yeah.
have kids demonstrate?
There was here in Rosario we have I think one or two schools that they have their own call sign, and they have a radio station on, but there are not many hams in the school. So from time to time we go to the schools, check if the station is running, and try to take some courses or classes into the shack and show them what is ham radio, a small chat about what we do and that kind of stuff. And there's a program that it calls LU Escuelas, which is like LU schools.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a group of hams that go to different schools to show ham radio. Basically, they put up an antenna on the roof of the school. There's a small chat about what we do, and there's a small demonstration, a QSO on 40 meters or on 2-meter D-Star or whatever they can do on over the radio. So there's a couple of programs about ham radio.
So can I ask another question? I know I've spent a lot of time working in Chile, and I've had my reciprocal license in Chile for several times. And a friend of mine, and actually I've met a good number of Chilean hams, both on the air down there and from here as well. But I also have a coworker in Chile who just recently got his license, and I think that, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with the licensing structure in the United States, but there's no age limit. And I know, like, I was actually looking at the requirements for a Chilean license, and just to get the aspirante license, I think you had to be at least 16, and you had to have that for 2 years, and then you could apply to take the exam to get the novicio, and there were only like 2 exams per year.
Yeah, that will depend on each country, but I'm not sure about Chile. But here in Argentina, you have to have at least 12 years to get a call.
Okay.
And then, you have to spend like 2 years to go from novice to general class. We have only 3 classes, and then we have extra class, like your extra class. So, but you have to spend a different amount of years on each in order to get into the other. I mean, you cannot take in some and do all together at once. So even you have the call today and you have the knowledge to approve all the tests, you need to wait until you have 2, 3, 4 years. It will depend from which category you want to go to. But
do you find that with regard to kids today that's an impediment on getting a license? because kids, a lot of kids, I have a 13-year-old also, and they don't know what they're going to be doing in 2 weeks, let alone 4 or 5 years. So I wonder if that is something that you see as an impediment to getting them interested.
Well, we try to get them involved, somehow showing that they can use a computer or a cell phone or something that is more related with what they do daily in other different, at school, at home, and show them that this is not an old hobby or a very hard hobby to get into, because at least here it's not very hard to get the license. I mean, you need to get a test and study and stuff, but it's not really hard. The thing is that the hardest part is to get radios and that kind of stuff. First, because they are kind of expensive. So if you have, I don't know, 16, 17 years old and you need to buy a radio, it's kind of hard. So somehow we are trying to help them sharing our stations or putting a special event somewhere for them to go operate. I get the guys motivated somehow, you know. For example, when I started my first radio and station at home, I built it 10 years after I got my call sign. So, but I was lucky enough to have some friends that shared their stations. I started working at contests just right after I got my call, because of I knew how to speak quite well English, so that way helped me doing some good rates on doing contests. So more or less I was able to operate from good and big station here in Argentina. But you know, I mean, I was very lucky. Some of the youth that I'm working with, they don't have a big station available nearby to go or to travel. So sometimes we need to find a different way to get them motivated. Doing, I don't know, online webinars or that kind of stuff. But it's not easy to get them motivated, at least when they are youth. We have more old people getting calls than youth, because they have the money to buy radios and that kind of stuff. But well, that's something that we need to work at radio clubs as well. I mean, radio clubs should have a station for them to operate until they get their own station at home. But you know, it's economic situation here is kind of difficult sometimes, so that's part of the problem as well.
Yeah, it's
And
yes, it's almost the same in Peru.
There's nothing that we can do about that, you know, more than try to share a station, try to involve somehow the guys operating from different stations, and that's it.
Yes, to start this hobby is very hard, because you have to get the equipment first. After you got the license, you get the license and you don't have equipment. So what to do? You have to convince your father and says, okay, I prefer the radio, the car. I prefer the radio than the trip.
Yeah, you need to choose between, I don't know, a vacation trip, the radio, or a car, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to go to the beach. I want to my rate, okay?
The phrase catch-22, like, familiar in Spanish? Guess not.
Yes, but there is not too many people here that don't speak English, Spanish. Right. Yes, in Peru, well, in Peru is almost the same as in Argentina, but it's easier to get the license. You have to attend a course, a couple of months. You get an exam, approve the exam, apply to the license, get the license. You begin with a novice. You have to spend 1 year in novice, giving QSLs and QSO confirmed QSOs. You need 75 confirmed QSOs only. You present the application to the MTC, the government office, and get the intermediate category. And then again, spend 1 year giving the 75 more confirmed QSOs and apply to the last category, superior. In only 2 years, you get from the novice to superior with only 150 QSOs. That's all. And then come to Miami and buy all the radios in ham radio outlet.
I had to look it up. It's Situación sin salida.
Yeah.
The no job without experience, but no experience without a job. No ham radio without license, or no license without ham radio.
Yeah,
but
it's something like that.
I spent almost 4 years to get from the novice to the intermediate category, not because I couldn't, because I had, at the end of the 40 years, I had 500 confirmed QSOs, but I needed to learn about the hobby, because what can I do if I am superior, but I don't know anything about the hobby? I don't know anything about SSB, Charlie Whiskey, digitals, how to build an antenna, how to repair a radio. I need to know. If I want to go up, I have to know how can I go. Not just because I made the contacts. Okay, I have 150 contacts and I'm superior. Now what? Nothing.
Yeah, they assume that you need to be a couple of years on each category to learn, you know. I'm not quite agree with that, but well, that's what the rule said. So it's very different than in the States.
I wish there was some way to like lobby or persuade synonymous like synergy between licensing, and we've talked about that before, and I'm sure the IARU is very, very well aware of how much of a problem it is with like the differences, even with just license, like the frequencies differences between member societies, because every country wants to do their own thing, but when it comes down to like licensing, like holy cow, why make it so hard in this country and then like why so easy in that one? What's the difference? There's obviously, it makes sense to have a technical base, like your people who get a license and you know they do pass the knowledge exam to at least fundamentally prove that these hams have a basis of understanding of basic electronics and propagation and safety and the basics, so that when they get on the air, you know, and it goes back to something I've been looking into about like way back, like during like World War I and II, like ham radio was really pushed for a way to improve the, what is it, the term that they actually use, but to improve basically the base of engineers.
Technical competence.
Yeah, to increase the technical competence of people in general, so that they had radio operators and skilled people who could do electronics, you know, repairs and manufacturing like locally. It would help support the economy in all these ways. So, and I've been thinking about like looking at how like China and Asian like manufacturing has stolen jobs from, you know, places where they once were, and how can amateur radio play a role in trying to bring back, say, right now everyone's having a chip shortage and memory shortage and graphics card shortages, but all of that is being done in Asia. But if, you know, hams out there getting their license and being technologists get into these jobs, you know, generally, and that's not to say, you know, there's a lot of hams out there who aren't technologists, who are geologists or, you know, librarians. And I know one who's like a Spanish minor in this chat.
Well, I'm not very a technical guy. I love doing contests or being on the air, but I prefer being on the air than building an antenna, for example.
Yeah, and I think Jack prefers being on the air more than all of us. Look at him.
For sure.
He's actually
Well,
on the air.
you know, it's interesting because can I throw something out real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
It's interesting because I teach a lot of classes. They started in person and now they're online. And I think I've done 21 or 22 technician license classes so far. And I find that there are three groups of people. There's the kids who are really interested, and they drag their parents along. Then there are the adults who, because we live in Oregon, and we're prone to earthquakes. At least someday there's going to be a big earthquake here, and people want to be ready for it. So that's the second group. And then the third group is all the teenagers from the 1950s and 1960s who never got the license because they got too busy. And then now they're 70 years old, and now they're retired and they need a new hobby.
Yeah, well, we had something similar here. We have some guys that need a radio on their car because they like to travel a lot. So they get only their license just because there's the legal way to have a radio on their truck, for example. And as you mentioned, all guys that when they were young, they were very busy to get their call, and they want to get it now that they have time to be on the air.
But at the same time, the license is the same, no matter who you are. But when I go through and I teach a class because I'm an engineer. My goal is to at least give people a 2-day engineering degree. So there's a basic understanding, not just of, this is this because this. It's like, this is this because this, and here's the underlying physics behind it that make it work. And I think that, at least they've seen it. At least, and in some cases, I've had actually Hannah's physics teacher, he's actually a licensee, and she actually gave him his license exam. So, but he then can look at it and say, oh yeah, this totally applies to what I'm teaching. I can use this in class because they're really the same thing. So I think you don't want to make it so that people just have to learn what they have to learn. I think once they understand why they're learning it and why it's useful and how it actually works, some people will just say, oh, okay, whatever. And some people will actually be interested by that.
I think
anyway.
I wrote one of my youth articles back when I wrote the ARRL youth editor column, the web column, like almost exactly word for word, kind of what you said there. At least it reminds me a lot of it, but it's very true.
And I may have plagiarized you. I don't know.
Well, I would be surprised because very, very few people know that exists.
Okay.
And that was probably back in 2011 or so.
Well, I knew that you were Sterling Coffee, so I know I read it at some point.
Oh, yeah. Yep. All right. I see Harry joined us.
Yes. Slightly late. I was the presenter at the local ham club meeting tonight, so we were talking about the health of amateur radio in Canada.
Is it good?
Well, remember I told you we had 73,000?
Yeah.
I did some math on the numbers against the population according to StatsCan, our national organization that does all those statistics. And because you haven't had to actually tell Industry Canada that you're still alive since 1998, I figure we're about 22,000 hams over the number, because until you turn 125, they don't boot you out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know whether the numbers are right or not, but it was a great discussion on what we should be doing to get youth in.
Hey, that's what we're talking about here. I guess we were just talking right before you joined about discussing like kind of licensing and then ham radio's place in society in general, and my kind of pie in the sky thought of like, how can we use amateur radio to go back to roots of increasing improving the technical competency of, to, look forward to getting engineers in the trades locally to improve economies locally. That, that was once the goal or a goal of amateur radio, at least in the eyes of the FCC and other radio societies and whatnot, regulatory commissions and such, because amateurs were very technical and they would get into, electronics, and they would end up getting electrical engineering jobs that would end up making them radio operators and repairmen and et cetera. So, and we've mentioned a lot of times, we've waxed over about how it's very easy to use amateur radio to teach STEM in schools, but at the same time, having our way into places that aren't STEM exactly, because a lot of people here and a lot of people in ham radio are not technical, but they still have to pass a technical license and get over that hurdle to enjoy it. Once they find something that they enjoy, for example, contesting is essentially a video game, but nobody who plays video games has to go through a technical, exam or anything.
But an expensive video game, but it is a video game.
Well, buying a new PlayStation every like 3 years is pretty expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
At least, if you're computer gaming, then it's crazy.
For example, I was thinking that you might find something funny or new to do after you got your license. For example, if I start trying to work some DX, I mean, I will need to know propagation. Even if I have, I mean, I might study something to get the call, but just the basic things about propagation. But if I get involved on working, for example, I don't know, at DXCC, I will need to learn propagation. So sometimes you enjoy doing some technical stuff after you get your call, and not necessarily before you get your call. At least that was happened to me. I mean, I started studying some stuff that I didn't know just right after I got my call, just because I needed to do different things. I don't know, to work satellites or to work different rare DX stations, or to get a better antenna to work those stations, or for example, like I told you before, that improved my languages to, I don't know, get better into contesting, because if I speak their language, somehow they will be faster and funniest to word them. So this is like some sort of thing that once you get into it, you will find a lot of different things to do, and that way you will learn much more of those difficult slash technical stuff, just to reach your goals in hemp. So getting the basic things of technical to get your call sign, I think it's quite enough. I know Harry comment a couple of times that it's very difficult in Canada to pass the exam, so especially for youth. So maybe if you get an easier exam, it will be a good way to get more people involved. But I'm not sure if that's something that somehow we can change from our side.
No, I'm not even sure there would be an interest from the government's point of view in changing it. The 475 kilohertz band, they posted it to one government publication. So we have hams here who are using it, but it hasn't actually been officially approved by the House of Parliament. So I don't know whether they're using it legally or not. And it's been sitting in that limbo now for, I don't know, 6 or 10 years. So I don't think there's any interest. But I did talk with a venture leader. They're the next level up from scouts, so they're like 15 to 18-year-olds, and he did something really neat with his troop. He brought in wire, and they practiced stripping wire, and then they practiced soldering wire, and then they brought in ohm meters, and they practiced measuring volts and resistors. And if you were a senior scout, you were allowed to actually push the prongs into the wall outlet, as opposed to, you know, the junior scouts. He eventually created his own course. So he doesn't really talk about current flow. He talks more like water flow. At the end of the day, you pass the course, you get a license, although I'm not sure that you really know very much about the hobby. So we get the numbers, we get youth, but I don't know that, you know, we're going to have somebody that's going to stay in the hobby. That's the downside of it.
You have to have the background.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about minutes ago. In Peru, it's easy to get to the highest categories, maybe not knowing anything about the radio, but you can have the higher category only giving 150 QSOs. But what about how it works, the radio, how it works, the propagation, how it works, the conditions, how do you make a QSO, how can you work with the digitals? I don't know. There are too many things that you have to know, but nobody have the interest to know, because some things are easy or some things are too difficult to get in. I'm sorry, I have some messages. Okay, that's all. So this is the question.
Yeah, I mean, like, your memory's great. When you're young, it's even better. You might be able to hold, you know, enough of the answers in the question bank to be able to pass.
Yeah.
And that's how most people do. I mean, all of today's like exam tools are, you know, from ham test prep, ham study, you know, even going back to QRZ practice exams, they're just rote memorization. For at least the technician exam is one thing, but when you get to the extra, it's a little harder to memorize 700 something questions. So I see Hannah over there nodding.
But in the end, you don't need to know nothing but the answers. I mean,
right. You just need to pass the exam, and then you learn.
It might help a bit, but after you get, like I mentioned, after you get your call, if you are interested in some specific thing, there's no way that learning about that. So
I feel like we've always had the hardest time with the old guard and the defenders of like tradition and the way we've always done things is say we
you must be able to pound a straight key at 25 words a minute.
Every little thing we're doing is dumbing down the exam, and it's like, yeah, sure, we are dumbing down the exam. We're making the questions less and easier to pass, and this is. But like, why do you need this in the first place? Remember, when you pass the exam, you went uphill both ways, but after you did it, you learned so much more after that. And now that we're in this age of technology where radio in general, where communicating over a two-way radio is taken over by cell phones, the internet, you need to compete with that it's actual competition. But still, it's like, no, they need to learn. And now going all the way up to the extra, where you need to literally, I did that in high school, and I got up to circuits 2 in an electrical engineering curriculum in college before I, you know, got to the level where I didn't have to like sleep in and like not go to class and just do my homework, because I literally learned it in the extra exam, or, you know, while studying for the extra exam, because I actually went through the book and like did the things and, you know, looked through the exam, did a lot of tech practice tests, but also like actually studied some of the math and stuff, which is still basic Ohm's law, but you know, a little more advanced in terms of like phasors and AC math, but not difficult. Nothing like differential equations or whatever. But even then, like, you know, it'd be what if we even put, you know, the remotest idea of like, let's make the question pool from 750 to 500. It's like, nope, ain't doing that. You know, let's do less questions in the test. Nope, can't do that. Let's do a simpler question pool. Nope, can't do that. So, and even for the general as well. So, and that's just one barrier, you know, to licensing. Also, the thing in the U.S. at least, we've been trying and trying and trying. So we've got remote licensing, but you still have to go to a Zoom chat and have 3 people watch you over a camera, because originally you would go to a test session in person where 3 proctors, 3 VEs would watch you take your exam and watch, as in they would sit around and probably fall asleep, and then you bring your exam and they go, yep, you passed, good job. Because they have like
Actually, we just play on our phones.
yeah.
But actually, Hannah and I are both remote examiners as well.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so.
I don't do it so often because of school, but
yeah, I
I
hardly
did the
do.
other
But I was on
day
the
with-
team that kind of put the process guides together, so it was chaotic trying to get people to do it, like to basically say, hey, ARRL, you're the big guys here, why don't you do this? Hey, W5YI, why don't you do this? It's totally safe. It's totally
we
fine.
have people from all over the country.
We're both ARRL, actually ARRL, and I'm W5YI and Laurel and Anchorage.
Yeah.
So
check them all out, you know.
Yeah.
So finally they've adopted them all, but
Yeah.
you know, in the very early it was like pulling teeth and you know, it was such a huge struggle because it was like there's no way we can verify the authenticity. They might be having people read them, the clues, and it's like, well, here's how we're mitigating all of these things. This is going to make it so much safer during times of COVID, and if we don't do this, we're going to have a huge drop in licensing, and we, I don't know if we saved it or not, but we definitely got a lot of people licensed, and now, I mean, looking at the numbers coming out of it, more than half of people getting licensed are going through remote means.
So Sterling, we have to get out of here. Do we just go or?
Yeah.
Or?
Do we just go?
Do we just go? I just wanted to make sure, you know.
Yeah,
but,
feel free. If you're bored or if you're sleepy or tired, you know.
No, actually, I have a code class to teach in half an hour, and we gotta go eat.
No problem. Well, thank you guys for hanging out.
Postre antes la cena.
Yeah, that's very funny.
That's very South American.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you would know. You go to
Yeah, you have.
Okay, muchas gracias, amigos.
Gracias a ti, Scott.
Chao, Scott y Hannah.
Yeah, also Hannah.
Y 2 semanas. 2 semanas, right? Sí.
En 2 semanas nos vemos.
Okay. Nos vemos. Gracias, señores.
I'll see you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you very much for everything.
So, yeah. Lost my train of thought, but yeah, I probably needed to start shutting up there.
Well, I was just gonna quickly like go through the story of how I got like into ham radio and like really doing stuff actively. And it's kind of interesting because my uncle is a ham, and like he has been taking me like out into the backyard or wherever, and like we've been putting up HF antennas and doing like QRP radio stuff since I was super little, and I thought it was the coolest thing. But until I got my license, I still really had no clue what was going on. I just like would hear people from far away, whether it was CW and he's telling me, oh, I'm talking to a guy in Italy, or if I was actually hearing it on SSB. And I just thought it was so cool that I decided to take the time to study for the license test. But even when I got through ham study or whatever I used at the time, and I studied for my tech and general, and I passed the tests, I still like I knew some things from the questions, but a lot of it, like talking about the different bands, like where you had to memorize which bands are for what, I just memorized it from the bank, and I really had no clue what it was. So when I got the radio, I kind of went in blind, but I just started like doing as much as I could without trying to be a complete nuisance on the air or illegally operating. And it just kind of worked itself out, and I was on the radio as much as I could be. And the more I did it, the more I enjoyed it and the more I learned. And somehow now I know what a lot of these things do. And it just kind of happened from experience. So I know some people like go through the handbooks and stuff and try to learn all the theory behind the radio stuff before they take the test, which is great. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and you just kind of have to accept that I'm going to study for this stuff. It's not really going to make a lot of sense, but I'm going to get the radio and I'm going to be able to do really cool stuff with it.
But what made
Then
you
I'll
want
figure
to
it out.
do this, Ben? Just the fact that your uncle dragged you out in the yard?
I was like, hey, I can throw up a wire and talk to people. I got licensed 2 years ago, and I don't even remember how it just like seemed, I think a decently sized portion of it, oddly enough, was PSK 31, which I know sounds very strange, but one day he was like, I didn't know anything about digital modes until like a few months before I took my test. And he was, I knew what SSB was, I knew what CW was, or I knew voice and Morse code at least. And then he was like, oh yeah, there's this app you can download on your phone. And if you tune to this frequency on your radio, you can tap on the waterfall on your phone and you can see people texting each other. And I was like, what? How is that possible? It's radio. You like talk to people and you do Morse code. And then I like techie stuff. I'm a computer science major in college. So I thought that was fascinating that that you could just turn data into audio and then other people can pick it up and you can like text with each other. So I think before I even got licensed, I wrote a PSK encoder, like just a very, bare bones thing. And I also like learned CW starting in middle school. So like I did some of these ham radio related things even before I got licensed. So I didn't know anything about the actual on the air part, but I knew you could communicate with Morse code. Okay, so I'll learn a bit of Morse code. And then there's this thing with sending data. And like I knew I could put my phone next to my uncle's phone and we could send messages just over the speaker and microphone. So I messed around with like that kind of stuff. So the actual on the air part, I didn't understand whatsoever. I just knew that I could send my signal really far with like a wire. And that was enough for me. But a lot of like, I'd say even more so than that was just like the variety of methods of things you could do with using Morse. I thought Morse code was super cool because it's like a secret language of beeps that only the cool people know. And then the digital thing like completely blew me away. So there were a few different things in here, but I really had no clue what I was doing until I actually got on the air. I had no idea, even though I put a lot of effort into it and I studied. I crammed like I think 2 weeks straight. I was basically just like doing the question pools. Then I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going in. And I did it, and I passed both tests, and then I think I ordered a Baofeng the day I got my license, and then my uncle sent me a 100-watt like all mode HF radio for my birthday, which was a month after I got my license, and I've been using that radio ever since, and it's sitting at my house 150 miles away from college right now as a remote that I can use. So yeah.
So out of curiosity, because you said, well, I can talk to anyone in the world, but all your friends, as they sit there with their video games shooting everybody, are talking to everybody in the world as well. So what made you decide not to go kill a whole bunch of imaginary people and instead talk on the radio?
Well, I'm a nerd. I like making it hard. I don't like things to be easy. I do like QRP radio. I like turning down the knobs so it's harder for people to hear me. All the challenging stuff is really fun, trying to solve all the problems and stuff. but it is really hard to explain. Like once you get bit by the radio bug, you just you can't get enough of it. Like building antennas, trying to get my signal to be stronger, have it go further. Setting up, like over the past 6 or so months, I've been making my own remote solution, which is like completely web-based, so I can connect to my radio from my phone or my computer, and hopefully I can get other people's radios on it. But like right as I was getting to that part, I moved into college, and now I have to deal with classes and stuff, so not super optimal. But that was a big time suck. But it also, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about programming, and I learned a lot about radio. And I have like several antennas in my backyard that I use a remote switch with. So I spent a bit of time building and testing antennas. I built like a CW keyer with an Arduino, so I can do remote CW. It's just like whatever it is with radio, and I've even done the VHF stuff, from using hotspots to doing APRS. It's just all the radio stuff is so much fun, and there's a never-ending stream of possibilities of what you can do. And now that I'm at college, my new challenge is getting as many people interested in radio as possible. So I already found a few people who like are into software-defined radio stuff. They don't have licenses, but they're like, okay, I know I've heard about this ham radio stuff, and I know people like talk, and I kind of want some guidance on possibly getting licensed. So I've got like a Discord server where we can chat about that stuff, and I've got some people who are interested in doing like SOTA and like POTA stuff, because we've got we actually don't have many parks nearby, but we're in a valley here at JMU. So there's basically just like dozens and dozens of summits on the air activation spots all around. So I want to start taking people on hikes and setting up a radio and just get people on the air. And we do have a club call. The club hasn't been on the air for several years, but I've been working with the old trustee who's now retired to get his call transferred to a current ham professor. And then when we get that call sorted out and get like a real club started, we'll start doing club events. And it's a lot of work, but I think that we can get JMU like recognized as an active ham radio club school by the time I get out of here. That's my goal. And to get a bunch of more people licensed, and not just with the ticket, but like interested, get bit by the ham radio bug and want to keep operating on the radio like I do.
See, I'm somebody that got bit 45 years ago. So, you know, they didn't have video games back then. And
what else are you going to do?
Well, you know, there was whatever. But so, you know, how do you, you know, we need people like you that can tell us how we go looking to implant the bug in other people your age in order to get the youth going again.
Yeah.
Ben, the person who is just here, Hannah, also is the current president. I don't know if you've met, but she's the current president of University of Oregon Amateur Radio Club.
Oh,
right. So meet up with them, and then I mean the whole story of resurrecting your amateur radio club at college is like kind of it gives me it gives me hope for the future, because I did the same thing at Triple E and had almost the same experience you're having with finding the right, you know, faculty. And then I mean in our case we had like a station, but there was just no one operating it, and they were very close to getting like their last cent disbanded in that room being like distributed to like use for a lab. But you're like, you know, me and another guy came in and we just like took it by storm, so got lucky. But that's awesome. And the one thing I go back to, like the youth editor column, is I always wrote how you can't drag the horse to the water. You show them the water, and then they will come if they're thirsty. And a lot of times the ham radio person, that archetype or that stereotype, is a nerd or a person who wants to not do the easy thing, who doesn't take for granted things that are technological, but I've never really thought about too hard of the other side, the flip side of things we were talking about tonight. Of people who aren't that nerdy or who aren't that technical, who just got into it because of one thing or the other, you know, contesting, for example. But your story is not terribly common, but I think it's one of the more common ones, I think, because it's similar to mine. Like, I was a nerd and I tore things apart. And once I found out about ham radio, I was like, holy cow, my calling, my people.
Yeah, well, I've done DIY stuff with audio and electronics since I can remember. I just love like sticking random things together. So it wasn't very strange for me to start doing it with radio stuff. And that's the only reason my remote station at home works, because I've got, it's not like I'm using a Flex and like some like other like Flex radio products that all talk to each other automatically. Like I've got all like my remote switch is, no, what the hell that is? Some loud, really loud horn going off, and I don't know what it is. Oh, there it goes. I built the remote switch myself. I'm using an Arduino to control everything. I've like every cable that's going into my interface or radio is like stitched, random like audio cables and other things just stitched together. Like my tuner port is like literal nails that have wire wrapped around them. But it all, you know, it works, and it's a lot cheaper than like buying every like adapter and whatever. And I just try and solve the problems and get things to work, and I love it. And I was doing it before with just making random mechanical or electric or electronic stuff. And then I just like, as soon as I got my license, I was like, wow, there's so many more things I can mess around with. And that's what I do.
Yeah. It's the perfect hobby for it. So
yes.
Hey, it's getting to about midnight Lucas time. If not, it's already
10 minutes to midnight.
Yeah. But that's really interesting. Thanks, Ben, for coming on and sharing.
Yeah, of course. Like I told you before, I got more interest in technical stuff after I got my call than before I got my call. What I love about ham radio was being able to talk with somebody very far away from me. So that's, I mean, when I started, there was no cell phones or that kind of stuff. So I was kind of impressed to hear somebody from Europe talking through a box. So that was that say, oh, I want to do that. I want to talk with the guy in Europe through that box, you know. But I guess after you get your call, you see that you can do so many things on through ham radio that you may probably don't have enough time in your life to do all the stuff that you can do. I mean, each year there's something new. For example, with the digital modes now, it's kind of easier to do, I don't know, a QSO over the moon, for example, which, I don't know, 20 years ago, it was almost impossible for most of us. So technology is helping us doing a lot of things that a few years ago was harder to do. So I guess if somehow we can get people involved, doesn't matter if they have a big technical background. If they have their goals to reach, they will learn it. Just in order to reach those goals. So I guess that if we show all the things that you can do through ham radio, they will find something interesting to do, and then they will learn how to do that.
Yeah, you have to take something in account. After all of this, you have to have fun.
Yeah, basically that's a part of the hobby, having fun.
Yeah, this is because it's a hobby. This is like entertainment. Yeah, somebody says no, it's a duty because you have to be part of the team or for the relief of how do you say, hurricanes or
Disasters,
earthquakes or something
emergency
else.
communications.
But this is more than a duty. This is a hobby, and so you have to have fun.
Yeah, correct. I'm agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to prove anybody that you can do that or this. You just have fun doing whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not a technical guy. I prefer to be on the air doing some contests or talking languages. That's the fun part for me.
Okay. So we want
That's why I have a lot of technical friends. They help me.
They help. Yeah.
They help.
Your antenna. They keep your antennas in the air.
Yeah, they build the antennas. I use it. Everybody's having fun.
We want to call it a night soon.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Anybody else got any more comments? Comentar.
Nope.
Bueno.
Comentarios.
Comentarios.
Opiniones.
Ben, you haven't even spoken Espanol. I thought you were fluent.
No exactamente, no, pero trato.
Patrick was on here and he said
algún día.
That's a good try.
Sí, hay que practicar el español.
QSL.
Hola, amigo.
CQ.
Hola. Yeah, you will find a lot of that on 10 meter SSB. Hola, radio.
Cool.
CQ 10 metros.
Yeah. What would you like to do, Ben? SSB or digitals?
I actually don't do a lot of digital because my remote setup isn't set up for that. I'm pretty much
Whoops. It's
Out
gone.
of battery.
Yeah.
Out of battery.
Well, got your answer, I guess.
Yeah, he has to generate electricity while he's working.
Yeah. Somehow they will find a way to charge your phone while you are walking with a wire or wireless. I don't know, but somehow somebody's going to do that. Somehow.
Well.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Time to go to bed.
Nice meeting.
Semanas?
Okay.
En 2 semanas.
See you.
Thank you all for coming.
Okay,
bye, guys.
See you, Jack.
Have a good one.
See you, Harry.
73.
Good night, all.
73. Say it again.